Physical privacy and security components, biometrics. Think of physical privacy and security components as the digital bouncers of your mobile device. In the past, security meant typing a 4-digit PIN code into a glass screen. Today, security is intrinsically tied to the physical hardware of the device and the unique biological traits of the user. This is the world of biometrics. For the CompTIA A+ exam, you must understand that biometrics is not just a software feature. It requires highly specialized, delicate hardware sensors. As a technician, you must know how these sensors operate, how they fail, and the strict cryptographic rules that govern their replacement. Part 1. The fingerprint scanner. The fingerprint scanner is the most common biometric component in the mobile world. However, not all scanners are built the same. There are 3 distinct hardware technologies you will encounter. 1. The capacitive scanner. This is the traditional scanner found on the home button or the back chassis of a smartphone or integrated into the power button of a laptop. It works just like a trackpad. It uses a microscopic grid of tiny electrical capacitors. When you press your finger against it, the physical ridges of your fingerprint touch the grid and discharge the capacitors, while the valleys of your print do not. This creates a highly accurate, electrical topological map of your finger. The vulnerability. Capacitive scanners are easily defeated by moisture or dirt. If a user has wet hands, the water conducts electricity across the entire grid, blinding the sensor. 2. The optical scanner under display. As smartphones eliminated physical home buttons to make room for edge-to-edge screens, manufacturers moved the fingerprint scanner under the glass. An optical scanner is literally a tiny digital camera hidden beneath the display. When you touch the screen, the OLED panel flashes a bright light to illuminate your fingerprint, and the hidden camera takes a high-contrast photograph of it. The vulnerability. Because it relies on light, a scratched screen or a thick, third-party privacy screen protector can distort the image, causing the biometric read to fail. 3. The ultrasonic scanner under display. This is the premium standard for under-display biometrics. Instead of light, it emits high-frequency sound waves. These sound waves bounce off the ridges and valleys of your fingerprint and return to the sensor, creating a true 3D map of your finger. The advantage. Because sound waves pass through water and grease, ultrasonic scanners work perfectly even if the user's hands are wet or dirty. Part 2. Facial recognition arrays. Facial recognition has split into 2 very different hardware paths. As a technician, you must explain to users why their cheap Android tablet can be fooled by a photograph, while their high-end smartphone cannot. 2D facial recognition, camera-based. Basic devices simply use the standard front-facing, selfie, camera to look at the user's face. The software analyzes the distance between the eyes and the shape of the jaw. The security flaw. This is not true hardware biometrics. Because it only sees in 2 dimensions, it can often be unlocked if someone simply holds a high-quality printed photograph of the user in front of the lens. It also completely fails in the dark. 3D infrared facial recognition, the sensor array. This is the technology behind Apple's Face ID and Windows Hello. It does not use the standard camera. Instead, it uses a complex array of specialized hardware hidden in the top bezel or notch of the device. The flood illuminator. First, an infrared light flashes to illuminate the user's face, allowing the system to work in pitch-black darkness. The dot projector. Next, a laser projects tens of thousands of invisible infrared dots onto the user's face. The IR camera. Finally, an infrared camera reads the distortion of those dots to build a flawless, millimeter-accurate 3D topographical map of the user's face. It cannot be fooled by a photograph or a screen. Part 3. Iris and retina scanning. While less common in consumer electronics today, you will encounter these in high-security enterprise or government devices. Iris scanning. This uses an infrared camera to take a high-resolution image of the colored ring around the pupil of the eye. Like a fingerprint, the complex web of muscles in the iris is completely unique to every human being. Retina scanning, this is even more secure. It uses a low-intensity light to scan the unique pattern of blood vessels at the very back of the eyeball. Technicians note, both of these require the user to hold the device at a very specific distance and angle, making them slower and less convenient than facial recognition, which is why they are reserved for strict, high-security environments. Part 4. Voice Recognition and the DSP. While we usually think of voice recognition as a software feature for virtual assistant (TS), it is also a biometric security component. The hardware, voice biometrics rely on a digital signal processor, DSP. This is a dedicated, low-power chip on the motherboard that is always listening. The process, it analyzes the unique frequency, pitch, and vocal tracked resonance of the user's voice. When you set up the device, it creates a voice print. Troubleshooting. If voice biometrics fail, the issue is almost always a physical blockage of the microphone array. A technician's first step is to clean the tiny microphone grills at the top and bottom of the device, which often become clogged with pocket lint or makeup. Part 5. The technician's nightmare, the secure enclave. This is the most critical piece of knowledge you must take into your certification exams regarding biometrics. You cannot simply swap a broken biometric sensor with a new one. Biometric data, your fingerprint or your 3D face map, is the ultimate sensitive information. If it is stolen, you cannot just change your password. Because of this, manufacturers process and store this data inside a trusted execution environment, TEE, often called a secure enclave. This is a separate, heavily encrypted microscopic vault built directly into the main processor of the device. The main operating system cannot see inside it. Cryptographic pairing. At the factory, the specific fingerprint scanner or Face ID camera is cryptographically paired to that specific processor. They share a secret digital handshake. The repair constraint. If a user drops their phone and shatters the home button, you can buy a replacement button and install it. The button will click, but the fingerprint scanner will never work again. The secure enclave on the motherboard will reject the new scanner because the cryptographic handshake no longer matches. The solution. To fully restore biometric function, the device must usually be repaired by the original manufacturer using proprietary calibration software that pairs the new sensor to the old motherboard. Summary for the professional technician. To lock this in for your studies. Fingerprints use capacitive electrical grids, optical underscreen cameras, or ultrasonic 3D sound waves technology. Facial recognition. Secure systems use 3D infrared dot projectors, not just the standard 2D selfie camera. Microphones. Voice biometrics use a dedicated digital signal processor to analyze vocal resonance. The security rule. Biometric sensors are cryptographically paired to the motherboard's secure enclave. Unofficial replacements will result in a permanent loss of biometric security features.